Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, released in 1994, ran 1 hour 26 minutes. Jim Carrey delivering a package in the way we all imagine every package delivery person does. Sounds broken is what the guy who gets the package says. He is in no mood for Ace Ventura's personality. He runs away with the angry guy's dog. The big angry dude busts Ventura's windows on his car out. Oh, crazy. The guy climbs in the back window as Ace is driving away. Ventura bites the man. The dog's other owner, she wants to reward Ace for bringing her dog home and asks him if he wants her to take his pants off. They cut away to a pool where a dolphin gets taken in a box truck. The next day, Ventura comes home and does what he can to avoid his landlord, but he fails. Ace calls his landlord Satan, and the landlord believes he hurt animals inside Ace's apartment. Ventura tells him he never brings his work home with him. After the landlord checks for pets and finds none, Ventura whistles and a big bunch of animals come out of hiding. The dolphin that was taken was the Miami Dolphins' dolphin. This meeting is happening 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. Courtney Cox is one of the officials that work at the Dolphins, I'm going to say headquarters, and she's getting yelled at. And a secretary recommends that they get a pet detective. When we see Ace again, he falls off of a roof trying to catch an escaped bird. His phone, or perhaps a pager given the time frame of the movie, something to contact him goes off. When Ventura goes to see Courtney Cox, she plays him footage of Snowflake the dolphin learning how to kick a football. If that's the proper word, since the dolphin doesn't have a foot. I don't know. I'll stick with kick. He is making a mess on her desk with sunflower seed shells. Out of the office and on the football field, Ace remembers the secretary that recommended him for this by her dog. Ace goes into Snowflake's pool, or I don't know, container we'll call it, and tells Courtney, if I'm not back in 5 minutes, wait longer. Then Jim does his best James T. Kirk impression, followed by a Scotty and then a Bones act. This makes me think that Jim, or perhaps the writers, are fans of Star Trek. Ventura found a small jewel in the pool, and he then goes to the police station. None of the cops respect him. Ace has a confrontation with a fat cop before he goes to see Tone Loc. Loc has such a recognizable voice, big fan of that. Ace asks about any bets being made and the fact that it's the Super Bowl, well, that the Super Bowl is coming up, means that none of the bets really mean a whole lot since everybody's betting more at this time. Ace explains the difference between porpoises and dolphins to a detective, Lois, and maybe I'll give you a call sometime. Your number's still 911, right? That was a fun line. Ace goes to a nightclub, and everyone is headbanging in here. So when Ace asks a question, he pretends like the headbanger is saying yes. Ace goes down to the basement of the nightclub. We get that very stereotypical guy in the 90s who knows how to use computers to track anyone and everything. He looks into who has gotten fish equipment recently. Melissa, which is the name of Courtney Cox's character, takes Ace to a big Dolphins the team party, but warns him not to do anything to embarrass her. So, of course, Ventura does his best to be as embarrassing as possible. He's so amazing at standing out. Just like no matter what Jim Carrey does, he's a sore thumb because he stands out in a great way. Ace tells this rich man who is hosting the party he smells nice before rushing over to the food and talking with his mouth full. Ace asks if he can use the bathroom and blames the food that he had just ate, but Ventura is really using the food as an excuse to investigate the property. The musical selection is perfect because of the contrast, as it is serious and Ace is anything but serious. Ventura finds a massive pool, thinking Snowflake is in it. Ace calls the dolphin like it's a dog, but a shark jumps out of the pool because Ace was trying to get Snowflake to come out or up and eat a fish that was in Ventura's hand. So the big time rich guy did not take the Miami Dolphins dolphin. When Ventura returns from the bathroom, he says, "Do not go in there." The jewel in the Dolphins tank was from the 1984 Miami Dolphins AFC Championship ring. So we get a montage of Ventura checking each guy's ring. My favorite part is an arm wrestling match. Ace loses, and the guy that he was arm wrestling basically tosses him across the room because he's that strong. Another time, he chloroforms one of the football players as he is running since Ace is struggling to catch up with him. Cox tries to convince Carrie the jewel could have come from a necklace and not from an AFC championship ring, but Ace is a big fan of Melissa's dog, and he starts saying all these things about how that she's not feeding him right, and yeah, it's fun banter. While Ventura is hanging out with Melissa and playing with her dog, she gets a call and her boss died. Apparently he leapt off of his building. Detective Lois is on the scene and not a fan of Ventura, but the feeling is mutual. Jim Carrey is such money, demonstrating how the man was murdered and he didn't jump. Losers, hers. Cox compliments Carrie, and Jim not being humble is a crazy big amount of fun. Ace then tells her a story about a nightmare that he had had about a dog with rabies. The music playing seems like Courtney may be wanting to pay Jim, like the lady from earlier who asked Ace Ventura if he would like her to take his pants off. They go a different direction. Ace and Melissa figure out who may be behind the taking of Snowflake, the kicker from the 1984 playoff game. What the music made me think was coming came to pass the next day. Ace goes to find Ray Finkel, the kicker. He finds the kicker's house, but instead of finding Ray Finkel, he finds a double-barreled shotgun to the face as Ray's mother stops her husband from taking Ace's head off. The dad tells Ventura that Ray isn't coming home and that the mom is nuts as she brings them football-shaped cookies. She wants Dan Marino to die of an STD. Ace gets taken up to Ray's old room, which is a murder shrine to Dan Marino. Ventura plays out football footage. It is the kick that Ray missed. "I'm in Psychoville" is what Ace tells Melissa when talking about where he went, and he said Finkel is the mayor. Dan Marino is shooting a commercial, but he got taken before Ace could arrive to warn him. Ventura is in pursuit. He catches a bullet with his teeth, and this thing is just crazy and fun. The press are putting all of the pieces together. Dan, the knot jumper, and Snowflake are all connected. Ace tells Detective Lois that Finkel is the guy, and Ventura says he is tired of being right. Lois then kisses Ace. He says, "Your gun is poking me in the leg." Ace goes to Melissa, asking her to get him committed so that he can look into Finkel's stuff in the mental institution. Ventura is so good at playing crazy at the nut house. In order to get let into the nut house, or put in, Ace Ventura wears a tutu while pretending to play football. It's ridiculous, but it's also Ace Ventura, and so it makes sense. Ace hides in it, or breaks into a storage area. He gets startled by bubble wrap, which is funny, and he also thinks he's about to get caught, so he tries hiding in a box. But while in the box, it collapses, and he sees Lois Einhart went missing after a hike. So, of course, we have got to go to the police station. Tone Loc is going through Lois's office. I assume for Ace. Yep, Tone called Ace. He was trying to help Ventura. Ace figures out that Ray is Lois. Finkel is Einhart. Einhart is Finkel. Ace cries and then showers while burning his clothing. The next day is the Super Bowl, and Ace is following Lois, which will lead to Dan Marino and Snowflake. Is this really Dan Marino? Maybe I just don't know what he looks like, but I thought I did. He says he has been hit in the head a lot, which is funny. Then Lois kicks a football through the roof of this hideout before kissing Marino. Snowflake is in good shape, and Lois's henchmen aren't here because they are getting paid. Well, because the fact is, Finkel, who's pretending to be Einhart, is helping keep these henchmen out of prison because Finkel, Einhart, whatever, Lieutenant Lois at the police station is pulling strings to help keep these people on the outside. Ace tries to release Dan, but Lois calls in to the police, blaming Ace for the kidnapping of Marino. Tone Loc and Courtney Cox race to save Ace Ventura, Dan Marino, and Snowflake. Finkel shoots the television as the kick heard round the world gets talked about. When the cops arrive, Ace and Lois are fighting. Both Dan and the cops are making fun of Ace. Courtney Cox pulls a gun on Tone Loc, and this gives Ventura the chance to explain everything. She's not Lois, she's Ray Finkel, is what Ace says. Ace tries to reveal that Lois is Ray, and he is having a real rough time of it. That is until Dan Marino, whispers in Ace's ear and points out something very helpful. Lois must have kissed every dude in the police station, because once they figure out that Lois is Ray, they all start spitting and scraping their tongues. Ace takes Dan to the Super Bowl, and Snowflake is able to star in the halftime show. This was a great 5 out of 5 stars comedy, and Jim Carrey just is amazing. Courtney Cox kisses Carrey on the sidelines when he sees a bird that's worth $25,000 worth of a payday on a Gatorade jug. This leads to Ace versus a mascot. I think it's the Philadelphia Eagles mascot. I'm not really sure because I don't watch football. But it's that same bird that Ace had tried to get early on when he fell when the police reached out to contact him. Thank you for being here at Mr. Super Oz. This video is going out, and this channel only exists because I, Oz, founded Gamble Comics, which first release was Everlasting Survivors, a 68-page graphic novel called All Day Long. Available now. Follow the link in the description that will take you to gamblecomics.com. While there, you can get hats, shirts, posters, much, much more, but most importantly, the story itself. Coming soon from Gamble Comics, BC Brute. It's so hard for me to believe that 1995 was 30 years ago, but that's exactly when Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, released, and it ran 1 hour 32 minutes. We begin with a helicopter looking through snow-covered mountains when we see Ace Ventura climbing the mountain. He vomits food to feed a baby bird on the side of this rocky mountain. On top of the mountain, we see a plane has crashed. Ventura and Spike see a lost raccoon that is being saved via a zip line that Ace sends its way. The little guy looks down and freaks out. Oh no, Ace drops the raccoon. Clearly some time has passed, and we see someone that we don't yet know. He arrives at a monastery with a bunch of monks. This guy is looking for Ace Ventura. A monk here is bringing the new guy to Ace, who the monks say is now at peace. Ventura has so many animal pals around him. This guy is willing to pay Ace $20,000 to find something, but Ace turns him down. Then the monks come to help Ace pack. The monks want Ventura gone, so the lead guy tells Ace exactly what he wanted to hear in order to get him gone. These monks have such a wild celebration, but Ace is so delusional he thinks they're in denial about the loss of him. He has a slinky go down this massive monk monastery set of stairs. The plane ride must be a major pain to the guy that came to pick up Ace. The flight attendant offers Ace peanuts, and we learn who sent the man to find Ace Ventura. A whole tribe could be slaughtered. Ventura does another William Shatner impression. This time it's a play on an episode of The Twilight Zone that William Shatner was in. And since Jim and Bill are both from Canada, now I'm assuming that it's Carrie who's a fan of Shatner, more so than the writers. Although if it's the same team, maybe it could be the writing team and Jim Carrey. Ace and the guy who got him from the monks, along with Spike, are in a Jeep going through the jungle. What a wild trip. Then Ace rolls the Jeep right between another Jeep and a consulate general's fancy car. Jim is so fun, he can make walking exciting. He's just such an over-the-top actor, and everything that he's doing here as Ace Ventura is so distinct from anybody else within the world, whether it be the original world of Miami and the dolphins and the police station, anything, or here being contrary to the monks and every other human being. Ace Ventura is just the most unique human in this world, which is interesting. We meet Quinn, the safari owner that has a pet raven named Tinky. Okay. This movie has taken a step back from the first. I mean, obviously Jim Carrey is on his game, but all the side characters just aren't nearly as exciting or compelling as Courtney Cox or Tone Loc or even Ray Finkel, Dan Marino, or Lois Ironheart. So this is really being held up by Ace, who was brought here because the folks have had no luck figuring out the mystery of this sacred animal missing. The man who hired Ace Ventura shows him this lovely room of death, as he calls it. I can't believe I even missed the landlord character. I thought all of the characters from the first film were just so much more intriguing, compelling, interesting. I mean, Spike is fun, and I'm glad that he's still here, but him following Ace and Greenwald, that guy who picked him up from the monastery, isn't, I don't know, something's missing, basically. We find out that the sacred animal that is missing is a bat, well, an albino bat, and Ventura seems to be afraid of bats. I'm not touching it is something that he says, and and he also says, no spank you. Bumblebee tuna is what Ace thinks is being said from the outsiders to these native tribesmen here at the safari area, which is funny because he keeps saying bumblebee tuna. Ace then meets a man who's being tested. Well, he's standing on a high platform, and they're testing his endurance and stick-to-itiveness. And so Ace shakes it and says, earthquake test. Ace meets the village chief, and he and his son spit in Ventura's face as a sign of affection, or so we're told. So Ace gets taken to the sacred bat's home, but before that, he hawks the biggest loogie and spits in the chief and his son's face to show his appreciation or affection for them. But in reality, it seems like he was doing it out of revenge, because obviously in our world, being spit in the face with or to is not an affectionate thing or a sign of respect. They call it the great white bat, the sacred animal that is missing, of course. Ace is spending far too little time detecting, and unintentionally he's eating bat droppings, which, yes, is disgusting, but also just isn't all that funny to me. Greenwald got caught up dancing with the villagers, so Ventura finally gets a chance to go off and use his detective skills, and it just struck me. So, a great detective who's scared of bats Is Ace Ventura Batman? Because it was Bruce Wayne's fear of bats that made him take on the mantle of Batman to make his enemies feel that same fear. Ace finds a black feather while investigating the bat's home, and so obviously this points to Twinkie, I don't know, the raven of the dude who brought him in. Ventura connects with the chief's daughter. She is worried she'll not please her future husband. She takes her top off and he says, "Very nice." Ace doesn't want to go into the Batcave in the dark, so he keeps saying, "I am not afraid," but clearly he is. Then he yells out, "Die, devil bird." Ace finds another black feather, which points to Quinn's raven, but at this point it almost feels like they're being planted because can a guy who brought you in to investigate to make sure these tribesmen don't kill one another, would he be so bad at this that he leaves multiple pieces of evidence pointing to him? I don't think so. And then we get such a ludicrous scene where Ace uses a fake robotic rhino to spy on Tinky's, I don't know, owner to figure out what the deal is with the guy. And while in the rhino, the thing overheats and he can't get out. And so, oh my goodness, he has to crawl out of the booty hole while there's a whole host of tourists watching on. It's just one of the most unexpected and crazy things that a movie can do. The idea that this family of tourists are watching this dude crawl out of a rhino, especially when they think that the mother rhino is giving birth. Ventura's pet Spike shocks Quinn, leading to an interrogation by Ace. Quinn gives Ace a ride after the interrogation, but he tosses him out of the Jeep and he hits the ground. When Ventura stands up, he gets shot by 3 darts and he is struggling. As he runs away, 4 more darts hit Ace and he goes down. The chief's daughter wakes up Ventura and he spits up water that was given to him in a bowl that was made out of the bat droppings. Ace goes to another tribe, the one that the chief's daughter was going to marry the other chief's son to unite the families, I guess. Kind of an old mob story. Oh, my daughter married their son to bring up everybody together. This tribe believes that Ace Ventura is the white devil. The guy who is translating for Ace is doing a very bad job. So bad, in fact, it makes me wonder if this guy is a villain or just a complete idiot. Ventura is put through a set of tests to see if he's trustworthy by the tribe, and he passes all of them, leading to one final test that remains where he must go into a circle of death match. Ace's opponent bites him when he tries to punch him. As they fight, Ace yells out, "Nobody messes with the dew," because the opponent messed with Ace Ventura's hair. Both Ace's legs get spears lodged in them, and the chief of this rival tribe thinks it's hilarious, so now Ventura is considered a friend, since he has brought them so many laughs. Only I'm not laughing nearly as much in this film as I did in the original. I big time miss the side characters, the supporting cast from the original movie. And even I liked watching Ace Ventura, the animated series, and the landlord was in that. And so, I don't know, I just feel like the Miami-based characters were important to the story. Ace figured out that the bat was taken by a bunch of outsiders, not the other tribesmen. And Spike is with Ace as he pretends to be a silverback gorilla, or by making the sounds of a silverback, to get these poachers to leave the place where they have the bat locked up so that Ace can go in and save the albino bat. He gets knocked out again, and when he wakes up, he's on a raft en route to take a big fall off of water into a watery grave. Ace is able to get Spike free from the raft, and he wants Spike to free him, but instead he jumps into a tree and waves goodbye to Ace. But Ventura doesn't die because obviously he's the namesake of this movie, and it's a comedy, so you don't have to go all dark and serious. It was a fine 3 out of 5 stars affair. Like, Ventura rides an elephant in the end to, like, take out the big bad, and he's able to make sure the villagers don't kill each other, which is, good or fine, but I just miss all of the side characters, everybody who just felt more important. Even though to us, Ace turned down the chief's daughter, the movie ends with all of the tribesmen chasing Ace off because when the two tribes unite, the princess is no longer, well, the way she was promised. And so that gag from the original movie, whether it be the dog owner wanting to give Ace a reward, or Courtney Cox feeling some type of way when they figure out what's up with the case, that stays intact. And so come back all week for more content from Mr. Super Oz.